one hand sample. I feel like I'm playing tight. I'm only playing good cards. But I'm actually running at 16, almost 17% VPIP and 11% pre-flop raise. But I've hit some pretty good hands. I've been fortunate in that respect. Flopped a straight there. What I mean, win rates at this level, like insanely high win rates, are sustainable. I mean, like win rates like 30 big blinds per 100 hands, I would say is easily sustainable at this level. Just playing tight, like, you know, here's a good spot. I'm just gonna try and hit a set with the pocket eights. Okay, we got a guy. He's pretty fishy. That's a pretty dry board. I'm just gonna bet. Like, I want to get it in, so I'm gonna overbet the pot to 30 cents. If he's got me, like if he's out flopped me or something, you know, I don't mind stacking off there because I know he's stacking off with a lot worse. That's something you gotta really keep in mind. There's a lot of kickers out there that beat me, but he's not. This guy is not folding an ace that I beat. He's not folding a jack, probably. He's not folding a flush draw. He's not folding much. So that's why I bet slightly over the pot. Extra value. Overbetting at this limit is good. That's a sick card, but I can't see folding here because this guy has ace deuce, ace 5, ace 6, ace 7 some of the time here too. So, and you know, if he called us with the flush draw, then you know, you really have to keep in mind that he made the mistake. Okay, he called me with ace 5. You see what I mean? That was the sickest card. It completed like every straight draw and every flush draw possible, but I still managed to get my stack in with top pair, top kicker. The guy had ace 5 of clubs. I got my stack in on the river, on that crazy river, that board of ace, jack, 8. There was an ace, a jack, an 8, a 9, and a queen. You figure most aces that any reasonable player will be playing are now beating me. You know, the only like good ace that I'm beating is like ace 10, because everything else has got 2 pair. But at this level, it's not a problem. That's why you see, like, I bet big on the flop, I bet big on the turn. It made it so that I was committed on the river, and you know, I was totally prepared to, you know, be sucked out on, because I know that I made a good play. In the long run, I'm gonna fold here. This guy's overbet the pot. You know, he could easily have 2 pair, some kind of, you know, like I can't make a read on these guys, so I'm just gonna wait for some good hands, big hands, whatever. The thing is, like, you know, I call an overbet on the flop, and then there's an overbet on the turn. Now what? You know, so start off with a plan on the flop. You know, like this guy's, if this guy's overbetting the flop, it's probably because he wants to play a big pot, and that's what I suggest you do. You know, you flop a big hand on the flop, overbet. Unless for some reason, you know, the player in the hand seems reasonably good, then don't overbet. You know, make a standard size bet. You know, against a thinking player, they might have realized, you know, well, this guy usually overbets when he has a big hand, but now he doesn't, so I'm gonna make a move on him or something like that, right? And he's gonna wonder why you don't overbet against him. Well, it's because, you know, you have a little bit more respect for that guy. But in general, like, you know, against all these unknowns, like, most of these players are playing like 5 times as loose as they should be, you know, and that's not just pre-flop, that's after the flop, the turn, and the river. So what you need to do is maximize value by making bigger bets. People will call them. You know, don't worry that, you know, you raise pre-flop with pocket aces, and you know, oh, there's 20 cents in the pot. You know, what are you telling me, bowl boy? Are you saying that I should be betting, you know, 30 cents on the flop? Yes, I am saying you should be betting 30 cents on the flop. The reason for that is people will react in all kinds of different ways. And when you have a strong hand, usually no matter which way they react, it's going to be good for you. You know, they're going to like interpret your large bet as some kind of sign of weakness, like you're bluffing and you just want them to fold. Because a lot of players at this level will keep the pot really small by betting really small. You know, they're hoping to induce a bluff. But, you know, I'd rather induce calls, you know, because, I mean, that's where you're making your money. You're making money off calls a lot of times. So, situations where I might not overbet are, let's say in spots where, you know, you have a player with a stack size of only 25 big blinds remaining or something. Then an overbet is not necessary in order to get the money in on the river. If you are playing I recommend, if you have the bankroll for it, I'm gonna raise this to 16 cents. If you have the bankroll for it, then, you know, by all means, you can take this approach that I'm using here and start playing 250 big blinds deep, and all these tables keep breaking up. You know, and then that way, like when there's other players at the table who've doubled up, tripled up, whatever, you know, you've got $5 on the table, and you could, you know, get into a hand for 2 cents or 5 cents, 6 cents, whatever, less than 10 cents a lot of the time, and then stack people. Okay, I'm gonna bet 10 cents with the flush draw. Flat top pair with a reasonable kicker, especially at this level, since people are playing a lot weaker aces. Two barreling at this level, I mean, this spot is maybe okay for two barreling. I'm just gonna check it back and see what happens. He could have a queen. That is the thing. Like, you know, the guy could have a queen. He could potentially, you know, raise me off my hand, and I have a good draw. Okay, now I've rivered my flush, and I'm gonna overbet a little bit by like 10 cents because I want that extra value. I'm gonna check the ace 10. I don't want to get raised on the river, and the guy folds to my flush, my overbet. You will see the reason why the overbet works so well at this level is because people call with a much wider range. So, you know, you don't have to balance so much about, well, how often will he call? You know, which bet size is better. Often the larger bet size is better with a stronger hand. So just, you know, make strong hands and then start hammering the pot. And, you know, going back to, you know, the whole thing, like if you're playing with the 250 big blind stacks, then overbetting with a strong hand will help you facilitate getting a 250 big blind stack in comfortably by the river. It's hard to illustrate this while I'm playing without timing out on tables. But, okay, here's a spot. I got top pair good kicker. I'm not going to start putting out crazy overbets because I don't necessarily want to stack off against both these guys if certain turn cards fall, like an ace or a king or a diamond, you know. Okay, I flopped a flush draw. You know, I'm just going to min bet this. I'm going to do something retarded and min bet. The reason why I'm going to do that is because the guy is probably not going to punish me for doing something like that. Okay, so it's a pretty bad card there. The guy just called the min bet. Pretty bad card over here, but we checked the turn and he didn't do anything. So I'm just going to bet about half pot. This is a situation where I don't want to overbet because I'll be folding if he raises all in. You want to utilize the overbet when you want to get stacks in. There's no reason to use an overbet as a bluff because it has to work so often, and bluffs don't work very often at this level. So just don't do it, you know.